Welcome back to Let's Write a Song. I'm Andy Cole, your host, coming to you from Treaty 1 territory, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, home of the never-ending winter. I know we've been over this. That was last week. The winter storm that came and buried us last week, that broke all the nice old trees all over the city. That storm has passed. A lot of the snow it left behind is gone. It has melted away because ultimately it's still October. And even if the weather isn't on our side, the collective anger of a city full of people who don't want to be staring at the same snow on the ground for the next 5 months, that collective rage, it burned hot enough to bring us a few warm days. And now it looks like, it actually looks like spring. And there's this weird feeling of spring in the air, and people are kind of happy because, you know, the instinct that comes to you when it's spring and you get those first few warm days and you're like, summer's coming. We've all got that, which is not good because summer is not coming. It's just going to get colder. We're lucky right now. This week, our guest is Joel Klaverkamp. He's a fixture of the Winnipeg music scene. You've likely seen Joel in something. I met him when he joined a band I played guitar for, the band A La Mode. Joel came on as the drummer. Joel is a wonderful person. He's very talented. He's ambitious. He has many musical projects. He's also a very thoughtful person. He's very sweet. He's one of those big, tall people who they're gentle and they're thoughtful and they're smart. And then you put them behind a drum kit and then they start playing and they hit the drums. You're like, oh yeah, there's that big, tall energy coming out. He's very great behind the drums in any of the bands he's with. He's also a tech guy. Joel's a total tech bro. And in this interview, we get into a very cool discussion about automation. And honestly, it turned me around on a few misgivings I had and some beliefs I'd had about where we might be headed in that regard, and some concerns I had. And I feel better about some of it now. Some other stuff we talk about, I don't know if I feel better about it, but it's insightful. The robots are not going to kill us. It'll be the climate. So don't fear the robots. Fear, the climate. Please enjoy this week's guest and this week's song with Joel Klaverkamp.
How many of these have you done?
I think you are number 5.
Okay.
Yeah. You heard everything okay?
Oh,
good. Love some mouth sounds. Actually, I heard a very funny sound earlier. I was over at Stella's, just getting this coffee that I have right here.
Yeah.
And I was walking back, and there's this kid who's been there the last couple days. He's like, for real, he's like 9 or 10 years old. And he just sits on the sidewalk, and he has like a derby, like a bowler hat in front of him. And he has a clarinet.
Oh, yeah.
And he's playing this clarinet, and he knows 3 songs. He knows "O Canada." He knows, I don't know the name of this piece, but it's that one. It's like the morning. It's always played like in the morning in like cartoons. It's that.
Oh, yeah.
That, and then the third piece that I can't identify. I don't know what it is. But he is just all over the map on like he'll just hit one wrong note and then he'll get lost and he'll just hit the next wrong notes, but the rhythm is still there. So "O Canada" will just turn into this totally other song, and it's fascinating. So I'm like waiting at the light to cross the street, and it's a long light, and he's just like he cycled through everything he plays. And it was just every time it's a different song. It's fascinating. So like the rhythm is there. You hear the beginning. He always gets the first couple of notes and then it just goes off. So I think that's where jazz starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like it may be deliberate.
This kid's,
Performance art.
It's just doing free jazz. So I gave him a couple $, because like I'll support that.
Of course.
I'll support a kid being a great musician.
Totally.
You, Joel.
In like 10 years, that guy's going to be doing the festival circuit.
Oh, in 10 years?
Yeah.
I hope he always remains at the level he's at right now, too. I hope that catches on. People are just fine with it.
He peaked at 9. Now he's just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, but that's fine. If you keep that peak running, that's just your new level. It's only a peak if you go down afterwards.
Are we actually rolling?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did want to say I wanted to have you in because you're... I'm trying to balance how many songwriters I have with how many non-songwriters, but maybe creative people otherwise. And I wanted to have you on because you seem to me, as far as I know, you're a very prolific person. You got like a lot of projects on the go. Currently, you are in what? You're in RoboJam?
Yeah.
You're in, is it Marin?
Marin.
Okay. And then we talked about this the other day when I saw you. You had, I think, one of my absolute favorite named musical projects I've heard in a long time, which was the Cookie Delicious, which I never got to see live.
It's only played live twice.
And was it just you?
Yeah.
On a bass guitar?
No, I have like a loop station set up with my laptop, so I play bass, keys, guitar, and sing and drums.
Oh my god!
But it was like nothing pre-recorded, live looped electronic music. Basically.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it ever pre-planned, or you just? Would
go yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah. But you'd get there every time.
Yeah.
What is that like? I guess is like as a loop music artist, when you know you have to get to a place to make that song happen, but there's still that risk that like it could change in a way you don't want it to, and you don't want to like stop. Like if you know what I mean, when you flub a loop or something, because I've seen it happen, and then they stop, and then the whole thing stops, and everybody. It's almost like when someone's like, if you're like do you know what I mean? Like that kid on the corner playing the clarinet doesn't stop when he flubs "O Canada." He just keeps going.
No, I wouldn't stop either. Mm-hmm. I was actually. I use Ableton Live and Behringer FB 1010 foot switch pedal.
Okay.
And it's all mapped so that everything is its own channel.
Okay, nice.
And so I can stop, start, re-record, like start recording and then just, if I made a flub, I would just like click the delete button and then keep going.
Oh, you can just get rid of it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay,
yeah. So it was, it would be nice if there was something that wasn't involving a laptop that did everything that I needed it to do. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I know the loops, like the loop station or the whatever they're called, like there's the general term for like the pedal units and stuff are they're getting big. Like they're getting very elaborate.
Yeah.
And it's interesting what can be done. Like there's some other local artists too that like really get into that kind of stuff. But it's still like, I guess ultimately, if you're running a lot of stuff, you'll want
I haven't seen anything where I could have like multiple channels, like 5 or 6 or even 8, all getting different instruments, and then each having at least 2 slots for samples. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So I could like play a bass line and then go to the next slot, keep playing the bass line, and then it would go back to the first one.
Right.
And everything will stay in beat.
Right.
And you can have like 4 bar phrases over top of 1 bar phrases, and they'll still work.
Oh man, it's so elaborate.
Yeah, I know. Ableton Live is, I mean, it's been around forever.
Really
good.
Are you gonna be continuing that project? The Cookie Delicious,
definitely.
Which I love. Where did that name? Sorry,
where did the name come from? Cookie Delicious. I believe it came from a guy I used to work with named Ian Connor, or maybe it was Evan. But yeah, we were just in a chat and. We were talking about cookies that were in the kitchen, and I was like, "Eat cookie delicious." And I said, "You've just named my next act, my next solo act, Cookie Delicious."
Oh man, your previous, it wasn't always solo though. But your previous one of the projects was Beef Donut as well. That I think a lot of people know you from that.
Yeah. It's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
I can generally age people by what band they recognize me from.
Really? That's There's like the layers of sediment.
There was a show Marin played a while ago, and the sound guy recognized me from Gingerbread Man, and I was like, "Well, now I know how old you are."
I didn't even know that one. That's before my time here.
That was the early '90s.
So yeah, when did you start? Did you grow up in the city?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were just always around. When did you start playing music?
Live, I started playing music when I was about 16.
Nice. What was that first band?
Oh, it was called Breakneck Inferno.
Whoa, that is,
Yeah, terrible.
That's a 16-year-old coming up with a band name.
That's exactly what it was. And it was hair metal. Because those were the only guys I could find to play music with. I was super into like
you wanted to play
and Sade and Tom Waits and INXS and stuff like that. And they were like, no, we got to play Warrant and Poison. And
wow.
So yeah.
I guess that's what people wanted to hear.
Yeah, so we started writing originals, which at least was good. But then the originals, they wouldn't take my originals; they took the guitar players.
They sounded like Prince.
Yeah, probably. And it was not good music, but it was still fun. We played live, and I think my first show ever live was at the U of M.
Oh, nice!
It was like a Spirit Week kind of thing.
Oh, cool!
But I would have been 16, which would have been Actually, 30 years ago.
Wow. When you're that age, I guess, in a city like this, because I grew up in like a very small town, were there opportunities? Like, how many shows did you play with that band?
With that band, only like maybe four.
But
we went on like Johnny Sizzle's Entertainment Watch a couple of times, maybe.
So there was like opportunities for bands to play then.
Yeah,
like,
I guess
reasonably.
So.
Yeah,
I guess so. I mean, again, I was 16. Like when I turned 18, or even just before, I was playing in Gingerbread Man, and we'd play out all the time, like once a week.
Once you can play in a bar and stuff,
yeah.
real enough. Yeah, I'll say like when I grew up, it was again a small town, so it was like everyone's shows were just Battle of the Bands. Like that was it. It was just
like an open mic night.
We didn't even have that. Like we were very small, so it was just like Battle of the Bands, or like every now and then someone's like rich family would have a summer party, and then like one person's, but like we're all in high school, and like one person's band would get to play, or maybe two.
What town was this again?
Summer party. It's in Southern Ontario.
Okay.
Like it was called Port Colborne. I can name it. Yeah, people listening can look it up, but it was. It's really.
Do you ever say that and people are like, "Oh yeah, I know Port Colborne."
Rarely, and I never believe them when they tell me that. But actually, I will say once when I was my girlfriend in college, I went to college in Toronto, and I've been living there for a while, right? Like 5 or 6 years by this point. I kind of knew her from class, but I didn't know her much, and it was early on in the year. But we came back, I think, from Thanksgiving or something, and someone was like, "Oh, what did you do for Thanks? Did you go home for Thanksgiving?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't live too far. I just live like near Niagara Falls." And I like my ears perked up because I'm like, "You live near Niagara Falls?" And she's like, "Yeah," and I'm like,
"You mean St. Catharines?"
Well, but this is what I said. I said that's code for Port Colborne.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, "Oh my God, that's where I'm from." And I'm like, "Me too," because that's what we all say where I'm from, because no one knows.
Yeah. So
it's like, it's pretty much equal distance from like Niagara Falls, which people will know, and St. Catharines, which some people might know.
Right.
But it's, so that's, where I'm from there's a whole code to it. And there's actually like a Facebook group called Port Colborne. It's near Niagara Falls. It might still be functioning because it's that kind of tiny place.
Yeah.
So, and you did some small town living over recently. The last couple of years. Yeah. You were out in
Pine Falls.
Yeah. How was it?
Well, it was a dark time. I'd rather not talk about it.
Oh, we don't have to get into that at all.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to slag, a town.
Right, yeah.
Because there's, good things about it.
Yeah, if it's not the right fit for you, then it's not the right fit for you. Oh, yeah. No problem. And now you're living in Selkirk?
Yeah.
And that is...
Better.
Definitely
better.
Yeah. And the kid, I should mention too, you got a family.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know this about Joel, but yeah, you got two boys who are
turning 16 this summer.
16.
Yeah.
They're just like they're dudes now.
They're dudes.
Yeah. Are they into music like you're into music?
Not like I am, no.
Yeah.
But I've kind of deliberately not tried to force anything on them. Like we'll tried stuff out. They've taken piano lessons.
Okay.
Ruben plays clarinet in his school band,
which
is nice. Like I've given them little lessons here and there, and the basic amount. But I'm like, I don't know.
Just gotta let them find what they're gonna find.
Yeah, I want them to do whatever they want to do.
Right. Yeah.
Music is what I want to do, and so
you don't want to be a music dad, forcing your kids.
Yeah,
building.
I'm sure that
building
I'm already
back.
Yeah, like it's not going to be cool until they're much older, anyways, because I do it all the time. So there's just no way music's going to be cool.
Oh, yeah. It's just something their dad does.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, you like music? Oh, man, my dad likes music. So lame.
Yeah. You're trying to press me, tell me you're a musician. My dad's a musician. Yeah.
But yeah, they're into their own things, and they're into really cool things that I'm pretty stoked about. But
yeah, I will say, I've got to meet. I don't know, hang out is a weird thing to say about other people's kids. But yeah, I've got to hang out with your kids a few times. Just like we all did a road trip when we were playing with Al-Mode once, and then another time, I forget where we were. We all ended up at one place, and I think
it's probably Domo's birthday party.
Yes.
That.
Yeah, and I don't remember which of your sons it was, but he solved a Rubiks Cube in front of me while not even looking at it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I learned how to solve a Rubiks Cube." And he was, I think, 12 at the time, probably. Yeah. This was years ago. And I'm like, "You can do that?" And he was just doing it with his hands while talking and not really looking at it.
Yeah.
And he just did it in front of me.
Well, you got to keep in mind, kids today have YouTube.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's a bit of an unfair advantage. And the whole thing with the Rubik's Cube is it's really just an algorithm. So it's just memorizing 2 left, 2 right, 1 left, 1, 2, 3. Like it's just memorizing a pattern.
Yeah.
It's a long pattern, but once you have it memorized, you can solve a Rubik's Cube from any spot.
Oh, really?
And kids today can learn that algorithm on YouTube.
That's incredible.
I mean, not just kids, anybody can.
Yeah. It's so interesting that things used to be like it was. I never saw someone solve a Rubik's Cube till I saw him do that in front of me.
Right.
Like when I was a kid, there was a Rubik's Cube in the house that we had, and no one came close.
Yeah.
Or you always come kind of close. But it was like, there were like legends of a kid who did it.
Yeah.
Like, that's so funny. And now it's funny the access to information we have now that it's just like.
It's amazing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I guess you kind of get to experience that through them, right? Like, because I still don't fully grasp maybe the access to information.
I live on the internet.
That's true.
Like I am from the internet. Have built large sections of the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're a tech bro.
Yeah. I'm a tech bro.
Total tech bro.
So they get a lot of that from me, and I get some of it from them.
Yeah. What do you do exactly?
I write software.
Okay. Yeah. I think did you write an app for the RoboJohn app?
Yeah. It generates music.
Okay. Is that how the band started?
Yeah.
So the band, I want to stress
the band
this to
started as like a idea or a vision that I had of humans and robots playing music together.
Right.
And I thought about, well, how could I actually make software to make a robot just come up with music and respond to a human, so that a human could start playing in A minor at a given BPM, and then it would pick up that and then start playing along. And then it also had a lot of performance art and theater and sort of modern dance elements in it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I'm going to try it. What the heck? But it took me a good long time, like maybe 5 months to write the software.
Wow.
Because, it's just on the side kind of thing.
And I will tell people, like I've been to some RoboJomm shows, and they're incredible.
Yeah.
It is like we
go
performance.
Full on.
It is. There are costumes. I've seen lights. I've seen dancers.
Yeah.
Like other dancers brought in.
Yeah. We have male dancers in the front usually, and then we have all kinds of props and costumes. And yeah, if you ever come to a RoboJomm show and you're like, oh man, that was so boring, then I'll give you your money back.
Yeah. That's true. And you can punch him.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. They're allowed to punch you.
Everybody's allowed to not like or
No,
whatever.
I'm saying they get to punch you.
What?
Yeah, you give them your money back, and they get to punch you.
Well, not in the
face.
I
think that's the comment. No. Like,
okay.
Just like
do
the thing.
Yeah.
Do the thing that your dad would do, or like harden your stomach, and then you get to punch him. Whatever.
All right, that's fine.
I think that's a fair deal. Yeah, it is. It is an incredible show. That's amazing that it began. I mean, you had a grander plan, but that it began just as this kind of the software piece that you were doing. Yeah. I want to ask. So you're very plugged in. You live on the internet.
Yeah.
You're a total tech bro.
Yeah.
What technology do you know of that's coming up? Maybe people don't, that excites you.
I've been taking a lot of courses on machine learning. And
can you explain machine learning real quick? Because I learned one time and I forgot what it is.
It's a way for software to look at data and be able to make predictions and learn from that data.
Okay.
So it can classify stuff, which is sort of generally one of the things that it does. But then another thing that it'll do is classify stuff without you giving it the categories to classify it into.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So you just give it a bunch of data.
Like it'll just figure it out eventually.
Yeah. And it uses something called K-means. Well, whatever. I don't need to say the jargon. But
okay.
So if you have a bunch of data and you want to find out what certain parts of it will have in common, you can just do it's like unsupervised learning. You just give the data to the algorithm and it says, we grouped these things.
Yeah.
We don't know why. Like you still have to tell us why.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously AI and machine learning, those are sort of the big ones that everybody's been talking about for a while now.
Yeah.
But just having done it myself and knowing what types of data is out there, I still get kind of excited about it.
Yeah.
I had an idea a while ago to make an app that would use like IBM Watson or something like that, where it can take a bunch of text data that you give it. Like if you just sort of say, here's my Facebook wall or whatever, and it could get all of that data.
Okay.
And then say, okay, well, we can tell that you're this type of person. And they already have this. Like you value honesty over politeness. You value this over that. Like you can, it breaks out your big core values basically and scores them with just numbers.
Okay.
And then it'd be cool to take that kind of data that's tied to a location, like GPS coordinates, and basically be able to profile neighborhoods and say, like, this neighborhood, this is the type of person that lives there. And then you could match yourself to it. You could say, okay, well, I have this matrix of numbers.
Yeah.
So I match the best with this neighborhood.
Right.
And I mean, this is stuff that people sort of already know. And I think that that's kind of the weird thing about machine learning is it takes stuff that people generally know.
Yeah.
But you don't have access to it.
Right.
So it's taking basically human knowledge and putting it somewhere where you can, where everybody can share it. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Did you? I guess this ties into what my next question would going to be. Do you worry about things like that though? Like, because I was going to ask, like, what advancements in tech worry you? And to me, like, there's two sides to something like that. Like, if you're like, oh, this area is full of people like this, it's like, well, that's good, but also, like, is it good that we're like you know what I mean? Qualifying things that way, and that it does come down to like we're categorizing things this way, and that this kind of knowledge is there. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah, no, I'm not worried about tech basically, or I wouldn't be in it. Like, I think I feel there's just basically not two types of people, but there's people who lean more progressive and people who lean more conservative.
Right.
And they need each other and balance each other out. So progressive people are always wanting change, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter what they have, they want something different.
Yeah.
They want to progress. They want to keep progressing. And then conservative people are the opposite. They don't want change, no matter what it is. They don't want it because it's new and it's different. So I think that a lot of people who are more conservative than progressive are already balancing that tech out.
Right. You think that's just going to keep going? Yeah.
And I think that if you, there's a book, what was it called? I can't remember the name of the book, but somebody wrote a book, and it's all about, it's using like data to show how much better life is now than it was like 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
We just keep getting a better and better and better, measurably better and better quality of life across the board, right? Yeah. So people complain about how they want it to be like the way it was, but if you actually look at the numbers of stuff, it's like, no, it's getting better and better.
Yeah, I will say that. Yeah, like a lot of people do have like I have concerns, I guess I'd say sometimes about like the amount of data that's out there about everybody. But yeah, I know some people would just want to complain about anything. Yeah, and it's funny that I remember like Facebook. I don't feel this happens all that often anymore, but Facebook would do like a redesign. Do you remember when this would happen? I don't think there's been a big one in a long time.
No.
But say like in like 2012 or 2011, there would be like a big one. Yeah. Like all of a sudden you don't have to put the word is there, or like all of a sudden your timeline isn't totally chronological, and people would lose their minds.
Isn't that hilarious? Yeah. I've experienced that firsthand. I've redesigned websites and have seen people lose their minds. And it is hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, I remember every time there'd be a contingent of older males on my Facebook feed who would all in chorus say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. Was their favorite one.
And that I think if it ain't broke, then break it. That's my motto.
Well, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh yeah, but that's a great, the first car wasn't technically broke.
Yeah.
Like, should we go back to like terrible old automobiles? Planes weren't broke.
Yeah. You're taking all the fun out of life.
Yeah, my 6400 baud modem wasn't broke.
Yeah.
Why did we fix that into a 21 or a 24, whatever they were? Like, I found it funny that there'd be those guys. Yeah. And now...
Well, but to be honest, I would be worried about tech if there were only progressive people in the world.
Then there would be nothing.
Because then we would just destroy ourselves and collapse, because we'd be constantly changing everything and not thinking about how every time we solve a problem, we create more problems.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel sometimes I remember, I can't remember who it was, but who was this? It was on Twitter. I think it was Kumail Nanjiani. It was talking about, you know him from, he's on Silicon Valley. He's a comedian and an actor. And he was just, because he's on Silicon Valley, they were visiting tech companies one time, and he's like, a lot of these guys don't understand how bad their how misused some of the stuff they're developing could be, like with deep fakes, like we're finding now with videos that can look and sound like someone is doing and saying something that they're not. And he's like, I asked these guys, like, are you worried about that? And they all just kind of like, what do you mean? What would we be worried about? And he's like, he's like, sometimes you think these people have like these malicious ends, and it's like they might not even realize.
Oh no, they're doing it because they think people will find it funny to take a picture of themselves or their brother saying how great they are and post that as a video saying, haha, you said that you think I'm great.
Like that's just like
and that's primarily what it would be used for. But no, they never think, this can go wrong. Yeah, this can go wrong. Somebody's gonna do a deep fake of Bernie Sanders saying something that he absolutely didn't say,
Yeah. There's one piece of tech. I might keep this in, I might not. I was privy to this information a few years ago, and I won't say how it happened. But there's a company in the States that was developing this thing, and for all I know, it's out there, but I haven't heard of it outside of this. But at the time I heard this, it was still being developed. But it's a little thing. It looks like a watch battery, basically. And it can send a push notification to any Android, or at the time Windows phones were still a thing. Android or Windows phone within like 100 or 1,000 meters or something. And you can't stop it. It just sends a push. You can choose to ignore it, but they can make it say anything. Yeah. And it's basically just boom, whatever. It can say, battery low, click here, and you can click on it, and it can make your phone do any action. Yeah, it can open something on your phone, it can send something, it can download something, it can send you to a website.
Well, I always think that too with those QR codes.
Yeah.
You can put whatever information you want in there.
Yeah, well,
and people scan them.
Yeah, but this is the thing though. Yeah, like people will scan that, but this is like you can make it say like download your new update. This push notification can say anything. You can think it's your phone doing a legitimate thing. And it was people at this company, not people who developed it, but guys who worked at this company, talking about this thing. And none of them were like, oh, yeah, you got to be careful with something like that. They were all talking about, oh, yeah, we can go to this, we got this convention coming up. We can place a few of those around, and you send people to your website automatically as soon as they're within range. And I heard this, and it was like, this can go so wrong. Like one person just has to go, I'll just have it download a virus from like a server that I set up that it can't be linked back to me. And that's, I guess, some of the tech kind of stuff that worries me is I think some people just don't, maybe they're so eager to develop this idea that they have that they go through it, and then they don't think it's like, oh, that can.
Well, I think it goes back to the beginning of tech. Yeah. Beginning of any kind of invention. If you do something to try and solve a problem, you will create more problems. Right. No matter what, with or without a computer. If you do anything to try and solve a problem, you're going to create problems. Yeah. And those problems never existed, and then those problems get solved, and then that solution causes new problems. Yeah. Like that's.
Hopefully you're just breaking down the problems that are being caused into smaller and smaller problems, so they're like, the worst problem is this makes your phone's battery run out a little quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's okay. Exactly. Well, someone will make a better battery.
It's one of those things that over time, the net impact of the sum of the problems gets less and less and less.
Right. So, so it's not... I like that idea, because then it's almost like everything has a consequence. Everything has an action. Even ideas can have sort of... if you think of it like a carbon footprint. Yeah. Right? Like, with this idea, we solved it. But, like, even maybe an idea or something, like software that's intangible in a way, still has this almost like, almost this emission to it that's like, well, now are these problems. And now we're just trying to figure out how to lessen that footprint.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times you're in a situation where you got to ask, okay, but who is this a problem for? Because they've created a new problem. Like, let's say we can get our shit together and solve climate change, right? And then all of a sudden, cattle farmers are out of work, and oil producers and refiners are, they're out of work. Yeah. Those jobs are gone, but industries get disrupted all the time. Right? Yeah. And they die all the time. That's sort of a normal part of it. So, at the time, that's going to be a big problem for those people. Yeah. But that problem that we created, the solution that it gives it outweighs that problem. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you have a way to lessen carbon emissions and slow climate change, that's
number
helps
one.
The entire world. Yeah, and then it's like, well, oil workers a bunch of people are gonna lose jobs in oil. You're like, agreed, that's a problem.
But the new industries will happen, and they'll get jobs in that.
Yeah,
or maybe jobs will just go away finally.
If jobs went away, that would be great.
Yeah,
I
think they will.
I mean, I think there'll always be some people who have to do some stuff. I mean,
people will still work.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But you mean jobs as far as
like wage slavery?
That would be great.
As far as like you having to work for someone else in order to survive. Yeah,
right. So
it'd be nice if those went away.
Yeah. Well, then take me to that world a little bit, because I'm interested. This is not a challenge. Yeah, this is not a challenge. But like, I mean, walk me through that a little bit. What do you see then in a
post-scarcity?
I'm doing post-scarcity. I'm doing air quotes post-jobs world.
Yeah.
How does that? What do you see that world broadly? Like, what are people doing?
Socializing, being creative. That's what people would do. I think people would also, invent new things all the time, inventing and building. But it'd be that would be part of their creativeness, part of it.
Right. That
sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
I like that. I like that a lot.
I think that's sort of a natural place where most humans want to be. They want to be part of a community and having fun and doing things with people. Like that's.
Yeah, and a job can still be like people will still make things.
People will still work.
Yeah,
they'll do their work.
It's just not like you're not going to have to work to not be out on the street, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I read a book a while ago about why we sleep. I think I was talking to you about this too at Domo's the other night. And it was interesting because why I didn't want to read it was because I thought that the person writing it would approach it from this privileged place where he's like, well, you should just get a good night's sleep every night. Well, a lot of people actually have to work day jobs and night jobs to support a family and pay their bills, in their city. Or like a lot of people, to them, sleep is a luxury that they can't afford.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, that title could be construed as like a very like Malcolm Gladwellian kind of like, do you know why we sleep? You only need 3 hours and 20 minutes of sleep. And then this way. No, this is actually like...
Yeah, this is like sleep should be up there with healthy diet and exercise as the top 3 things that you need to stay healthy.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, the older I get, I feel when I didn't sleep right. Not even didn't sleep enough. I just feel when I didn't sleep right.
Right.
It's like, I went out. I was out with my friends. We had drinks, and I went home, and I slept. Maybe I slept 8 whole hours, but I wake up and was like, I didn't sleep 8 hours. Like, it was bad sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm dealing with a schedule change at work right now, so I'm working really late, and I'm sleeping weird. Like I wake up I hate waking up at 11 a.m., but that's when my schedule works for me now.
Right.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't work a job that made me work so late that I had to wake up at 11 a.m. every day, or I'd be a zombie.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, Cole in Marin, he's also been complaining about his sleep schedule with his work schedule because he's working nights now mostly. Mm-hmm. So just talking about like post-scarcity utopia, we will need robots to work the convenience stores and stuff like that. Because right now, those jobs, nobody wants to do those jobs.
No.
So if you do something like guaranteed basic minimum income, which they've been trialing, those types of jobs will go away without AI.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because people won't have to do it.
Exactly. It's like 7-Eleven can't pay someone enough to make it worth their time to do that job. Yeah. The only reason they can get people to do that job is because they have no other choice.
Right.
Which is pretty exploitative, really.
It is. It is. It's a job. That's a job you have to work.
Yeah.
Right. And then, and that's the thing. You hear people saying, like, when they talk about this kind of jobs, well, someone has to do it. But then they also, people,
But why? People are so addicted to convenience, they can't just give up. Well, maybe I can't go at 2 a.m. to get a super big gulp.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you could.
Yeah, I think you could survive just fine without a 24-hour convenience store.
But I love having it.
Yeah.
If it's a robot, that's fine. This is the trade-off, too, is if I know that the person who needed that job before is fine.
Yeah. Well, I think that I see it as AI coming in and basic minimum income coming in at the same time.
Yeah.
So that people don't have to work and robots can take their jobs.
Right.
Because people will be happy with that, I think. They'll be like, oh yeah, I got a guaranteed basic amount of money that I don't need to stress about. I don't need to go and pretend to apply at jobs, and I don't need to, and if I make a little bit extra, it's not going to get deducted or taken away.
Right.
So I can start my own business. I can build the thing that I've always wanted to build, and start selling it to people.
And I guess the only real, one of the few forms of grunt work in a society like that would be robot technician. You'd have the people who go and fix them.
Yeah.
And it's I guess that's a job someone would have to do. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, because you don't want the robots fixing themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're going to start souping it up, and then we're in the matrix.
Then you get your machine learning. This is where it goes. This is why I was talking about concerns. Oh, boy. Joel, I think it's time that we write a song.
Oh, okay.
You in?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do it. What's that?
Meant on the funky?
No, I like it. I think there's lyrics on this?
Yeah, but I don't think it's this song.
No?
No.
You like this jam, but it's not this song.
No, I don't even like that jam.
You don't like that jam?
I mean, it's good.
It's good.
But it's not the best thing I've ever heard.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I feel like I'm trying to get better at that in my old age. To be not oh, that's good enough. But this nope. Yeah, it has to be the best thing that I've ever heard. Or just keep trying. Keep the first bit you were doing, the high harmonic parts. Oh, up there, yeah. Good for that. Do 2 more of those. You could do it short like that the first time, and then twice that long the second time.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna save that for when you lock into just the root note bass part, the second half.
Yes.
The bridge from that.
Yeah.
Because I was doing that, I was like, I think it sounds better with that. Because then I think it takes away from what you were playing.
Every other, right? Perfect.
I guess 8, yeah.
First time 8.
I wouldn't mind vocals that follow that. Something like that. Just something kind of sort of soaring in that part. I don't know. There you go. I don't know if it's immediately. Like that. Yeah. I'm awake, it's still sleeping. Yeah. Okay. Chorus, there we go.
Sitting up on the hill, our sweet cinnamon hearts, words that don't last forever, mixed with our broken parts.
I'm trying to figure it out, but I can't. I'm gonna pick it apart
when we're not together.
I'm trying to figure it out, but I can't. I'm gonna pick it apart when we're not together.
Mostly we're fine. I won't ask you. Mostly we're fine. I won't ask you.
I don't know what feeling.
Do you feel like taking a chance?
I don't know what feeling.
You can tell me I'm wrong. I'm expecting the worst. I've been practicing thoughts, stuck in anticipation now.
I'm trying to figure it out, but I can't. I'm gonna pick it apart.
When we're not together,
I'm trying to figure it out, but I can't. I'm gonna pick it apart when we're not together.
we're fine. I won't ask you. Mostly we're fine. I won't ask you.
I don't know what feeling.
Do you feel like taking a chance?
I don't know what feeling.
I'm awake, you're still sleeping.
I don't know what feeling.
Do you feel like taking a chance?
I don't know what feeling.
Do you feel like taking a chance?
I don't know what feeling.
I'm awake, you're still sleeping.
I don't know what feeling.
Do you feel like taking a chance?
I don't know what feeling.
I'm awake, you're still sleeping.
Cinnamon Hearts with Joel Klaverkamp, one of the most production heavy and ambitious songs of this season. I guarantee it. There are a few more of those coming your way soon enough. We'll get to them. They're fun to make. They're very rewarding once they're done, or at least worked on to a point where I'm done with it because my skill set can't make it any better. Joel was very helpful to the development of this podcast, actually, because Joel made me realize I need to make a rule, particularly for the songwriters who I have on. And that rule is, if we lock into a groove and it feels okay even, we got to follow that. Otherwise, this process will take a very long time. Because at the beginning of the songwriting process, you heard us pick up on something while we're jamming, and Joel, who has his reasons, and they were legitimate, Joel decided to jettison that idea. Now, we ended up making a great song, probably better than what the first one would have been. But it took us a while to write that one. And I worry that if we allow ourselves to self-edit too much when it's supposed to be just sort of that creative atmosphere, that we lose a bit of the spirit of it, maybe. But again, the song turned out really good. You can find Joel out there on the web. His current band is called Robo Jom. Also look up Beef Donut. That's his long-running project. And The Cookie Delicious, which we did discuss in the interview. You can follow this podcast on Instagram. That's the best way to keep up with us. Hey, Let's Write a Song is the handle. We're on Twitter at Write a Song Pod. Facebook, look for us. You can Google us for all the different ways to find and interact with this show. Thanks so much for listening. We'll get together again next week on Let's Write a Song.